There was horrible traffic this morning. You're all shaking your heads. There's not much I can do about it, except to commend the Sheriff's Department for doing an excellent job, and commending you for being on time despite the traffic situation. So thanks to everybody, and we're going to resume. Mr. Walden, Ms. Brazil, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. People would call Alberto Alvarez to the stand.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Please be seated.
Thank you. Morning.
Please state your name for the record. Spell your first and last names.
Alberto Alvarez, A-L-B-E-R-T-O. Alvarez, A-L-V-A-R-E-Z.
Mr. Alvarez, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Let me provide you with some instructions. These are instructions I actually give to every witness in every case. The first is, please sit back and relax.
Thank you, sir.
The second, please speak loudly so we can hear you.
Sure.
The third, if you're called upon to provide a yes or no answer, reply by yes or no rather than slang which can be a little tricky. And lastly, please wait until you hear an entire question before you even start to answer it. In our daily lives, many of us are used to speaking over each other. But it's important in a courtroom that we hear only one person speaking at one time, so wait. Is that okay?
Understand, sir.
Thank you. Direct, Mr. Waldman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Mr. Alvarez, directing your attention to the month of June 2009, where did you work at that time?
I worked at 100 North Carrollwood, sir.
And who lived at 100 North Carrollwood in Los Angeles County?
Michael Jackson, sir.
And with whom did he live at that location?
He lived there with his children.
And what was your job at that time?
I was director of logistics, sir.
What does that mean?
Basically what I would do, route surveys, hotel surveys, establish communication with PD, establish communication with upper management at any venue that he would be arranged to come into.
Okay. And when you say, I think you said advanced or hotel surveys, route surveys, what do you mean by that?
Well, I was part of the advanced team, and what I would do is I'd make sure everything was clear or in its proper place before he.
And when you say he, are you referring to Michael Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just to give us an idea of what you did with more specificity, let's say Michael Jackson indicated to you that he wanted to go shopping. What would you do in that circumstance?
He would usually give me instructions as to what he wanted to buy or what he wanted to go shopping for, and he would ask me to go look for certain stores. And so what I would do is I would go around the areas and look for the stores that had the items that he would look for, and then come back with the information. And if he would ask me if everything was clear, I would say yes, and so he would agree to come out and go shopping.
Okay. And then when he would then say, okay, I'm going to go shopping, would you be in an advanced vehicle to, or would you go with him at that point?
For shopping, sir, I would actually be the passenger of the vehicle he would be traveling in.
Okay. Now, in June of 2009, for how long had you, at that point in time, how long had you worked for Michael Jackson?
Well, I got called back. I've worked with him since 2004, on and off. But at that point, I was called back. I believe it was December 31st or January 1st, sir.
December 31st of 2008 or January of 2009?
Correct, sir.
Okay. And when you were called back into employment, did you agree to come back?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was this a good job for you?
Oh, yes, sir, it was.
Okay. Did you make a good salary?
Yes.
And when you were called back into employment at that time was Michael living at 100 North Carrollwood?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And beginning then, let's say in the beginning of January 2009, was it full-time employment for you?
That's correct, sir.
And that continued through to June 25th, 2009?
Yes, sir.
Now, as a member of the security team, can you describe for me the basic kind of rules and procedures as far as the property was concerned? Let me ask you first, was security generally outside the residence?
That's correct, sir. We had a security trailer right on the side of his house.
Okay. And did security routinely go inside the house?
No, sir, only when we were requested inside.
Okay. And the trailer that you referred to, showing you first people's tickets for identification. Can you see the trailer in that photograph?
Yes, sir, I can.
And sir, can you grab the pointer that you have up there?
Okay.
And can you point out the
Sure.
trailer, please?
Right there.
Okay, for the record, indicating to the right of the front portion of the house in People 6. And I want to show you one other photograph reflected in People's 9. Is this more of a close-up view of that same trailer?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, was there a distinction between kind of on-site property security, people such as yourself that would actually go out into the city with Mr. Jackson?
Yes, sir, that's correct. We had, like you said, property security, and then we were his personal security, sir.
When you say we were his personal security, who's we?
It was Fahim Muhammad, Michael Amir, myself, and then closer to his passing, we had Derek Muhammad and a few Isaac Muhammad,
Okay.
and Eric.
Now, do you know Conrad Murray?
Yes, I do, sir.
Do you see him in court here today?
Yes, sir.
Could you identify him, please?
Yes, sir. He's sitting right over there with a blue suit and a gray tie.
Pointing to and identifying Dr. Murray, the defendant.
Thank you. Mr. Alvarez, when did you personally first see Conrad Murray?
Once I started working at 100 North Carrollwood, I seen him after January of 2009, sir.
Okay. And when you first saw Conrad Murray, was it at the Carrollwood location?
That is correct, sir.
Now, going forward then to the months of, let's say, April, May, and June of 2009, with what frequency would you see Conrad Murray at the Carrollwood residence?
In those months, I started seeing him about 5 to 6 times a week, sir.
Okay. And what time of day or night would you see him?
Sometimes I would see him in the morning when I would come in, but for the most part, I would see him in the afternoon.
Okay. And were you aware that he was actually staying the night during that period of time?
Yes, sir.
Were you aware of oxygen tanks being on the premises?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would those be stored in the security trailer from time to time?
That is correct.
Showing you what was earlier marked. People 16 for identification. Do you recognize that photograph, sir?
Yes, sir. That's the inside of the trailer.
Okay. And do you see the various oxygen tanks both to the left and right of this broken chair in People 16?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that an accurate depiction of what would be normal to see in that trailer as far as the oxygen tanks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And showing you People 17, this sign that reads, "Please remember to take the oxygen tanks every Friday as place opens." Do you recognize that sign?
Yes, sir.